Good morning, my dear students. So we have already came across what is nervous system and what are the parts of nervous system or the organs of nervous system. Now we will be going through the next part of the chapter, the last part of the chapter, that is the sense organ. So how these sense organs are emerging, what are the types of sense organs. Now quickly recapping, if we say that what are the sense organs. Now this is very easy, I know all of you know this. Okay, what are they? Number one, we can say it as eye. Number two, what? Say quickly, say or quickly type in. Okay, another one, we can say it as nose. Okay. So what happens? We have normally, okay, you can be abnormal, but don't worry. Normally, what we have 5 sense organs. What are they? They are ear, eyes, tongue, nose, and skin. Right? So, what are these sense organs? Sense organ, as we were studying the chapter of nervous system, sense organs are the particular openings to the outside of our body, which let our body know that what is happening outside the world of our body. We sense the outside surroundings through the help of sense organ. Now today we will study about it in detail. Sense organs are the external organs that contains receptor which receive stimuli from the environment and send messages through the sensory nerves and the central nervous system. Sense organs help us to see, hear, smell, taste and touch. There are 5 major sense organs in our body. What are they? Eyes to detect light, ears to detect sound, nose and tongue to detect smell and taste, skin to detect touch, pressure, pain and heat. Now we will come to the part of eye. Okay, what are eye? Eye is an organ of sight. They detect light and help us to see the world around us. Each eye is made up of an eyeball that lies in an eye socket present within the skull. Internally, the wall of the eyeball can be divided into 3 layers. These layers are sclera, choroid and retina. Now, this diagram of eye, this particular diagram of eye is very important. You will practice it for drawing as well as for labeling. Now the sclera. Sclera is the opaque, white, tough, fibrous protective coating or the coat of the eye. It bulges at the front into form and thin and transparent cornea. A thin and dedicated membrane called the conjunctiva covers the cornea. Okay. Now choroid is a pigmented layer supplied with blood vessels that provide nourishment to the eye. In front, it forms the iris, the colored circular part of the eye. In the middle of the iris, there is an opening called the pupil that allows the ray of light to enter the eyeball. The pupil dilates in the dark to allow more light to enter into the eye and contract in bright light to regulate the amount of light that can enter. Just behind the iris is a convex lens suspended in a place by the suspensory ligament. Now you all notice that our eye in bright light it gets small, okay, and in small light or in low light we just open our eye like that. So this is due to this particular pupil. Now retina is the innermost layer that contains light sensitive cells called the rods and the cones. There are 2 chambers present on the either side of the lens. Number 1 is aqueous chamber or in the front, that is in the front, and vitreous chamber in the behind. The aqueous chamber contains a watery fluid called the aqueous humor which nourishes the cornea and the lens. The vitreous chamber is filled with a clear jelly-like liquid called the vitreous humor which gives shapes to the eyeball and transmit light to the retina. Now what is the function of eye? Eye help us to see things in our surroundings. When we look at an object, light reflect from the object enters through our eye in the cornea. Since the cornea is curved, it bends the light entering the eyes. The lens further bends the light rays and focus them to form an inverted image on the retina. The rod and the cone cells are photoreceptor cells in the retina. They are sensitive to dim and bright light respectively. The rods are responsible for night visions, whereas cones are capable of color visions in bright light. The image formed in the retina is passed on an electrical impulse to the optic nerve present at the back side of the eye. The nerve carries the impulse to the brain, where it is interpreted as an upright image. Okay, so what we see in the eye is the inverted one. If this is like this, we see it as inverted. Now at the nerves which carries the impulse to the brain, here it is interpreted to upright. Okay, so some of you will say, I also believe that whatever I see is inverted. No, whatever I see through my eyes in the lens is definitely inverted, but when it comes to our brain, it again get reinterpreted to upright position, and thus whatever we see is definitely in upright conditions. Clear? Now ears. Ears are the organ of hearing. They exist in pairs on either side of the face. Ear responds to stimuli created by sound waves. They are also responsible for maintaining body balance. An ear has three parts: the outer ear, the middle ear and the inner ear. This diagram is also very important. This will not come for drawing, but for leveling it will definitely come. The outer ear is made up of a cartilaginous protection from the lateral side of the head and is called the pinna. Like this is known as pinna. Connected to a tube inside is called the auditory canal. At the far end of the tube lies a thin, tough membrane called the eardrum or tymphan. Middle ear. On the inside of the tymphan lies an air-filled space that contains three tiny bones collectively called ear ossicles. Based on their shapes, they are called the Malleus hammer, incus anvil and shape stirrup. At one end of the handle of the malleus is attached to the tymphan. At the other end, the flat part of the shape is attached to a membrane covered opening leading to the inner ear. A tube called the Eustachian tube filled with air connects it to the middle ear to the throat. Okay. Now see, these I am going through and you are finding it very boring. I am not understanding. This is because you need to go through it, this video, with your book open and the diagram seeing. See the diagram and listen to me. You will definitely understand what I am trying to say. Okay. Now the inner ear. The inner ear is a fluid-filled area consisting of three parts of the cochlea, semicircular canal and vestibule. The cochlea is spiral shaped and bear thousands of hair cells. It also contains sound receptors that are attached to the auditory nerve. There are three semicircular canals placed at right angles to each other and attached to the nerve within the inner ear. The end of each canal is swollen and contains sensory cells for maintaining body balance while in motion. This type of balance is called the dynamic balance. The vestibule, which joins the semicircular canal with the cochlea, contains sensory cells for static balance, that is balance of the body when it is at rest. Now function of ear, you all know what is the function of ear. It helps to maintain the body balance, it helps us to hear whatever is happening in the world, right? Now the nose. The nose is the organ of smell. It helps us to detect odor present in air. It is also a part of the respiratory system and helps in breathing. The nose has small two openings called nostrils. Now these are known as nostrils that are separated by a septum. The middle one that separates this nostril with the another one is a septum. These nostrils lead to the nasal cavity. The nasal cavity bears the olfactory epithelium that further contains tiny receptors of smell. Odor molecules or chemicals floating in the air reach the nostrils and dissolve in the mucous secretion of the nose. The olfactory receptor detects an odor, gets stimulated and sends signal to the olfactory nerve. These nerves further pass to the impulse of the brain, which interprets the odor. Clear? Now the tongue. Tongue is a fleshy muscular organ attached to the floor of the mouth. It has a receptor taste called the taste bud. We all know the difference of taste between biryani, a plate of biryani and a plate of normal rice. We all know that, right? Why? See. It has receptor for taste called taste buds that detects the that detect the taste salty, sweet, bitter and sour. Excuse me. Okay, where was I? Yeah, salty, sweet, bitter and sour. Each taste bud has a taste receptor cell that transmit taste generated impulse to the sensory nerve fibers attached to the brain. Now the last part is the skin. A skin, you will learn it in detail class 9. Okay, in class 9 I will go through this skin. There is a chapter called skin. They will learn it detailed. But before that, do remember the labeling part of the skin is very important. The skin is the largest sense organ found all over the body. Apart from serving as protective barrier, it contains numerous sensory receptors that receive information from the environment. This receptor can sense pain, heat, cold, touch and pressure. Skin consists of two layers, the outer epidermis and the inner epidermis. Epidermis is the outer tough dead layer of skin that wears away at the surface and is constantly replaced by new cells. The dark pigment called melanin, which determines the skin color, is produced here. Now dermis. Dermis is the inner layer of the skin. Many defined structures are present in a dense matrix of connective tissue in the dermis. Hair follicles, sebaceous gland, sweat gland, blood vessels and sensory nerves endings. These all are in the dermis. Nerve endings gives us information about the things with which our body comes in contact. They carry the information to the spinal cord, which send message to the brain where the feelings is registered. Okay, now these complete your chapter of sensory organs or the sense organs. Okay, now I hope you have gone through this. You have gone with your book opening. If not, then again go through this video with your book open, with the diagrams open specially. Okay, then we will come across that what I am trying to say. Till then, if you have any query, definitely ask me. I will definitely give you the question answer of this chapter as well. Take care of yourself, take care of your family. This completes your chapter of your second assessment. Up till now, I don't know whether it will be increased or not, but it is completed. So take care of yourself, study hard, take care of your family. We'll be meeting in the next class with a new chapter. Till then, bye. Thank you.